Good morning, everyone. I just want to manage expectations with the fact that no, my hair is not done with the Dyson Airwrap. I'm at that moment with it where I'm like, it's taking me such a long time. I did my hair the other day and I smoothed it with the bristle brush, and then I used the big round attachment, and it took me such a long time. I don't know whether, well, the thing is I follow this wonderful girl, I think her name's Naomi, like Bouncy Blows or something on TikTok, and she's got the longest hair and the thickest hair, but she does such big sections, and I just cannot do big sections with my hair. I don't know whether it's because my hair is so coarse or what, but it takes me forever. And I've got my technique fine now. Like, people were like, oh, you've clearly used it before. It's like, no, I've been doing my hair for such a long time that I kind of know. And so, yeah, I just tongued my hair today because when I used the smoother, it smoothed my hair out so much that I've like lost loads of volume and it feels weird. My hair feels flat, so I keep like fluffing it up. So I apologize if I keep touching my hair. It also makes my hair feel so dry, which is just bizarre, because you would think that using a tong would do that like on its own. And one thing I've realized, I didn't actually look at the heat temperature of the Dyson Airwrap, and it heats your hair still to 150 degrees. Well, on my tongs, I use 170 degrees. I reckon I could get that down to 150 degrees. And then if I'm quick and I'm not heating my hair above 150 degrees, then I'm kind of doing the same thing for less time and less money. I'm gonna stick with it though. I'm not getting rid of it just yet. I do love the volume that it gives when I just use the little Ujmi flip, the round one, the big round one. I don't want to have to use, what's it called, mousse on my hair, because obviously, like I said, my hair is so dry, and anything like mousse and hairspray, I often find makes my hair even drier. So I'm really battling with the pros and cons here. That's the thing. I think what I have to weigh up is the pros and the cons, and my hair is quite different to most people's. I am like Italian and English mixed. My mum's hair has very, very tight, like very, very tight curls, which I didn't get, but I do have like curly hair, as we established when I showed you my hair not done. And so yeah, anyway, I just thought I would update you. I'm gonna keep trying and I'm gonna keep documenting it. I have another video to upload on my TikTok, which will probably be up by now anyway, of me touching up the next day and then me leaving the house and just feeling so self-conscious because my hair just felt so weird. Even when I went to TOWCESTER and Hicks the other day, Jeff was like, have you done your hair differently? I was like, yeah, I feel a bit weird. He's like, I can tell you feel weird. I'm like, I feel weird. I feel really weird. So, yeah, I'm not giving up just yet, and like I said, I love the volume that it gives. I definitely lose volume in my hair after a few tongs of my hair. I actually find myself washing it more because I've tonged it so that it isn't voluminous anymore, and I want the volume back. So yeah, I'm gonna stick with it and try it, but I just don't have the capacity or the time at the moment. Anyway, long-winded. I'm in my dressing room and I'm having a bit of a play around at the moment. You'll see that I've popped a little pot in here. I think I'm gonna find a container and maybe pot some bits up to make a display, probably some ivy. I don't know if I'm gonna do any bulbs, but I just love the way this looks on the side here, and I always feel like this looks a bit bare. I've also restyled up this with a pot. How many pots are too many pots in your dressing room? I'm still obviously trying to find a way to make these work, and what to display. If you have any ideas, please let me know in the comments, because there's a lot of negative space. Not negative in a negative sense, but negative in a space that's just not doing anything. And then obviously I need to style up here with another pot as well. I just love this little, I don't know how proud that looks, that little pot. I love pots, okay? I just love pots. I'm gonna prop you up on something, and I filmed a video this morning and I thought it would be lovely to go through it with you on my channel, because fake tan on my hand, because I'm propping you up on fake tan. That will teach me. That was a mess. That was very silly, Lydia. So I filmed this video because it's been a video I wanted to film for a while, and I wanted to make sure that I had enough information, and I filmed it for TikTok. And it was basically 5 life lessons that I learned last year, And obviously I make it really bite-sized for the TikTok video, but here I can kind of go into context a little bit more. So I wanted to start this video off just chatting to you about those things, because I know everyone gets annoyed when I don't put things on, when I put things on TikTok and I don't put it on here. The first lesson that I learned, and this is in no particular order, and I've shared this one with you already, but during difficult times in your life, people will either show up or show themselves. But this isn't a negative thing. It's a great way to organically filter people out that shouldn't be in your life anyway. And I know that we spoke about this, and I know that so many of you loved that saying, and it was something that I thought you could apply to everything in life, not just friendships. I think in work, I've definitely learned it in like a work capacity. Like, there will be people that stick by you and there will be people that won't. And that's all down to the sort of personal perception and people's views on things. It's a really great way of like weeding out people that are not your people and that you shouldn't be really exposing yourself to anyway. It's good for both of you. It's a positive thing, in my opinion. And it's a positive thing that happens in your life. And it's one of the most positive things that come out of any difficult times that I've experienced. So yeah, that was definitely up there. But I know that we've spoken about that, but I also know that so many of you really took that and it meant a lot to you. It goes with family, work, friendships, all of those kinds of things. It can be applied to. I've even learned situations about like my own family members. Like, for me personally, there were family members that saw everything that happened in the press and spoke about it, but didn't check if I was okay. When those things happen, obviously you get exposed to a lot of people and you get a lot of threats, like a lot of threats. And I think as a family, that's one of those situations where you'd think you kind of put your opinions and like politics aside and you check on your family member. But in that situation, I now know, I kind of know who those people are, and I am in a position where I just know, and I get to, it doesn't mean I cut them out, it doesn't mean I, end anything theatrically. What it is I've got that knowledge. So I just know that some of my time or anything that I'm worrying about maybe it's not worth investing in that particular person. They'll have strengths elsewhere. I might be able to rely on them for other things, but it's always the people that you least expect to check on you that do, I think, sometimes as well. Not always, but there are some people that you're like, oh my God, I wasn't expecting that person. And it totally like flips your view and changes things, which I think is quite nice. Number 2, and this is what I wrote down for TikTok. Most people will take small snippets of information about you and decide that's who you are and all that you encompass. But don't worry, none of that has anything to do with who you really are, and they aren't your people either. And this is something that I'm not very good at applying, but I know it. So even in like one of my recent vlogs, and I'm such a nightmare for it, and it's so funny because a situation will happen online and I'll say something and someone will take it a certain type of way, or a few people will take it a certain type of way, and I'll think, oh my goodness, no, that's not what I meant. And then I'll come in a next video and I'll justify myself. And then I put it out there and I think I've done that really well, I've spoken about that really well, I put it out there. And then there'll be obviously an outpouring from you guys where you're like, Lydia, like, we're your people, just ignore them. And again, I've done that thing where I've pandered to the people that just aren't my people, because I never have to do this in my friendships. And so if you think about it, when you're in a relationship or a friendship with someone, you are a bit more, well, generally in mine anyway, you're accepting of who that person is and you get to know them. And I'm sure that there's a lot of you that have spent a lot of time getting to know me. I wish I could get to know all of you, okay? I wish I could, but I can't. And then there'll be people that haven't taken the time. And those are the people that are taking the things that I'm saying and making out that it's about this person, or making out that I'm doing this or this, that, and the other. And I find myself in this spiral of justification when in actual fact, these are just not my people, and nothing that they say about me defines me. I am the worst for this, and this is one of my, like, I'd say that this is one of the biggest things that I have to learn and grow. And in fact, I'm probably going to set myself a bit of a challenge with this, because it's in my nature, and I think that on a small scale, that's a lovely thing to have. To never want to upset anyone is a really lovely trait to have. But on the internet, you are always upsetting someone. Like, I am always upsetting someone. There is not a single piece of content that I put out that doesn't upset someone. And sometimes there'll be more, and sometimes there'll be less. And if I'm always going to be upsetting someone, it's down to me to make peace with the fact that I upset people. And so this is going to have to be my journey of 2023, to accept that people will be upset by me, and they'll be upset by the things that I say, and they'll be upset by the things that I do, and they'll be upset by the way that I live my life or touch my hair, and I have to accept that. It's not down to you to accept me, it's down for me to accept that you are always going to say those things. Wow, that was really cathartic for me actually, because I feel like I've gone through like a moment there of like realization, like, no, I have to accept this. I have to sit in a space of acceptance. Okay, and the next one is number 3. The higher you elevate, the lonelier it gets. And what I mean by that is the more you move into like an emotional adulthood state, and the more internal work that you do on yourself, it becomes harder to communicate, relate, and find common ground with those that haven't done the work. So this is something where I find myself really like butting heads with a lot of people, because obviously I'm on the internet, and I'm sure lots of people will do that. Like, I'll go onto TikTok and I'll see a piece of content and it'll annoy me, or it will upset me. I think I saw something the other day where someone had like docked their dog's ears, and I understand that there are people that are for that and they think it's in the best interest of the animal, and there are people that are against it. And I'm very much like, I don't personally, and this is not grounds for us to start, like, you don't have to convince me. I don't think that is necessary or kind. In my opinion, that doesn't mean I'm right. And the difference is that I'm not in the comments of that person's TikTok telling them they're wrong. That bit of content is not for me. And the moment that I engage with it means that I'm going to get more of that. So I have to scroll on. There are a lot of people that are not emotionally, like, they're not emotionally mature enough to understand that not every piece of content that is served to them is for them. And so they get really angry about the fact that they're being shown this, but it just isn't for you. It's for other people, and you just happen to have stumbled across it. And flailing your arms around and getting all upset about it and being unkind in the comments is like not liking tomatoes and going into the tomato section of Tesco's and getting annoyed that there are tomatoes there. Like, you are there. The best thing that you can do is remove yourself. I see this a lot on TikTok, where there's people making response videos to things and like laughing and making fun of people and mocking people. There's a huge culture of mocking people on TikTok, which I really, really don't like. And really, the bottom line of every video that mocks and responds and whatever is, you could have just scrolled on. You know that meme that is like, you should have just ate your food? I think that's the meme. It's like that, you should have just scrolled on. It wasn't for you. So you've just chosen to upset yourself, and you're angry that you've chosen to upset yourself, and then you're making it that other person's problem. But really, that is a you thing. And so once I realized that, I became very like, almost, like, I can only describe it without sounding too airy-fairy as very calm. If anything disturbs me, I swipe on, or I hold down and I say, I don't want to see that anymore. Because I want that person to live on and live their life and do whatever makes them happy. Just because I don't agree with it doesn't mean they can't be happy. And this only goes as far as like breaking the law and those kinds of things. The law is there to keep us all in check. As far as I'm concerned, anything that's like morally against what we believe, you cannot expect people to have the same morals as you. That is putting yourself in a position where you are going to be disappointed. And I've had to deal with this a lot as well. I have a very specific moral compass when it comes to business. I'm very like, I like to think of myself as very honourable, and I don't have to stand on anyone to get to where I want to be in this world. But not everyone is like me. And I was expecting everyone to be like me in business, and they're not. There are people that will stand on you. There are people that will badmouth you. There are people that will hold you back. And I had to learn to accept that. The more emotionally mature that you find yourself, you will realise that it's actually a lonelier space, but it's a happier space, because the people that you tend to keep around you, and it's why a lot of the people in my life have now seen the same life coach that I saw, because I didn't want to leave them behind. I wanted them to come with me. And that has been really, really integral to like the growth that I've experienced, because I can't tell you how important it is when everyone is growing with you that's around you. But the sentiment really is there. The higher you elevate, the lonelier it gets, because so many people just don't do the work. Okay, I've got to move through these quicker. Four. Being in control of the way that you think is a superpower that's in all of us, and yet only a few of us take the time to harness that power. And that is something that I really mean. Like everything, and every self-help book, every therapist, every life coach, every person will tell you that the moment that you can get control over your thoughts, I'm obviously not talking in terms of any illnesses or mental illnesses, because I don't know enough about them, but I'm talking about just your bog standard human. If you can take control over the way that you think, that is a superpower. Like, because you can change every narrative. Like, I'll get people say things to me all the time, and I'm so fascinated because it's so negative, and I'm like, I just didn't think of it like that. So people will send me messages and they'll be like, in fact, one of the things that I used to get all the time, which I actually don't get anymore because I think that people really can see how happy I am, is you're not here on this trip, or you're not here doing this fashion show, or this, that, and the other. I don't get it anymore because I think people know that I don't care. But in the beginning, people used to say that to me. And it'd be so funny because I was like, I don't think of it like that, because I've chosen not to be there. I've chosen not to do that because that didn't serve me. And even if I hadn't chosen to be there, and I simply wasn't invited, well then I'm able to say, oh, that would have been nice to be there. However, at least I get more time to spend with the dogs. And that is one of the things I learned from listening to a podcast with Davina McCall. I loved her mentality about flipping negative thoughts like that. And that's what I mean when taking control. You can flip every thought inside your head. One of the things that I feed myself all the time is, Lydia, you're getting too old and you're not relevant anymore in the industry. And please bear with me. Whenever I say that I'm old, I'm not saying that in a true life setting. I mean in an influencer setting. When you see like these youngsters coming through, and I remember sitting at dinner once with a girl that was like still at school, you can't help but almost think, oh my gosh, this is nuts. Like, I've been doing this 10 years. And so sometimes my brain will be like, you're very old to be working in this industry. And I have to slap that thought straight back down and be like, I'm old, and how lucky I am to be working in this industry still. And how wonderful it is that this industry supports people of all ages, from school to teens to their 30s, whatever stage of life. You can mold this industry into what you want it to be. What a wonderful thing. I'm not perfect at it. That's one thing I always have to say. I'm not perfect. Sometimes I'm downright awful, but for the most part, I can flip every thought that I have into something positive. And if I can't do it, one of the people around me, because we've all elevated together, will flip it for me. And I love that. I love that. This is one of my favorites because I see this a lot online, and I think I was guilty of thinking this way as well. But number 5 is, just because you are loud and other people that are loud agree with you, it doesn't mean that you are correct. It means that you are loud. There's truth in silence too. And there's a lot of times in my life where I've silently sat with things, and I often see just in an online setting, or even in group settings, I'm sure that that's very much a similar setting, that people think that because the majority of people agree on something, that must be right. But as we've seen in so many situations, I remember when, you know, there's been elections or whatever, and people are so convinced because everybody is being so loud that they are going to win. It doesn't mean that you are. It just means that you are loud. And often when you are that loud, people don't want to say their opinions or stances in response. And what you end up is a very one-sided space, which is what I see happening online a lot, is it becomes quite one-sided. You don't often hear different perspectives because the ferocity and the loudness of these people who think that just because that they all think the same way is correct. What it just means is that the counter-arguments, which stands for healthy debate, are silenced. And so I think that that is so, so important, that just because you're loud and just because other loud people agree with you, it doesn't make you correct. It just means that you're loud. And that is so powerful. You might be right, you might be correct, but that isn't the thing that means that you're right. I often see it in comments. Well, if lots of people think this way, I must be right. No, no, no. Other people just might think the same way as you. And other people might be happy validating your incorrect statement, but it doesn't make it right. So those are some lessons that I learnt in 2022. All lessons that really, really help me as a person on a day-to-day basis in dealing with things. And I definitely want to share more in this capacity with you. And I wanted to sort of put this in at the beginning of the video because I know often the sort of big bits of my videos are me talking about this and talking about a product or doing a sponsorship here. And I wanted this to have 24 minutes of me just telling you some good things and some good lessons and sharing them with you. We can discuss it in the comments. I feel like that's number 6. This is, oh my God, this is number 6. This is one more thing that I have to talk to you about. And I find this fascinating. So, just because, this kind of carries on from the last one, just because we don't agree on something, it doesn't mean we have to fall out. This was such a huge lesson because I think that there are so many people in the world that think that because you don't agree, that's it. And I think I probably thought like this not long ago. I want to tell you like a situation that I found myself in. And this was a good few years ago, whereby I was asked to do a product with another person. It wasn't an influencer, but I was asked to design a product with somebody else in the name of charity. And it was such a lovely cause. It was such a wonderful thing to be doing. And basically what was to happen is I was to design this product and then this other person was going to bring it to life and then we were going to donate it to the charity. I got to pick the person that I did this with and the business that I did this with, and I immediately handpicked someone that I admired. Like, I loved their business, and I loved everything about what they stood for. They were so creative, just everything. And so we started the process, and I designed my product and we sent it over, and the person that we worked with came back and said, oh no, we can't do this because this isn't sustainable. Please bear in mind that this wasn't going into production. This was just a one-off, unique product. So it wasn't being mass produced or anything like that. So this isn't sustainable. I wanted to do this. And I was like, okay, we backed and forth, and what my team put forward at the end when we couldn't find common ground, my team were like, okay, why don't we just make this so much better? Why don't we both make the product and donate both, and then even more money will be raised and we can both do what we set out to do in this collaboration. And that lady has never spoken to me since. Unfollowed me on social media, unfollowed me on everything, and that was the end of that. And I thought that was such an interesting thing for me, and I really, it sort of put me on the back foot, and I was really confused by it for a while, because I thought, we didn't fall out, we just couldn't align creatively, and that's okay. I've had other instances where I've reached out to people on the pretense of trying to like calm the air and just make sure that everything's okay, and instantly people become defensive, and I just find that really interesting, in that just because we don't feel the same way or think the same way or agree on something, it doesn't mean that we have to fall out. And it's really funny. I think it's probably, again, who I surround myself with. We have such healthy debates in my office and in my group of friends. We literally like have healthy debates where we're like, I don't agree with you, I think you're wrong. And at the end of it, we're all like pumped. We're like, oh, that was a good one. I find it so strange when people think that just because we don't agree on something, that means that you have to be dead to me, because it just isn't the case. Anyway, don't forget, let me know any of the main lessons that you learned in 2023, because I would love to know. You are such knowledgeable people, and I know that if you're sat there watching on your TV, as I found on my recent vlog, if you're sat there watching on your TV, get your phone out, come into the comments section, and I want to know what you learned. What was the most powerful lesson that you learned in 2022? Because I know sharing this stuff and sharing this information is hugely beneficial to all of us. I learned so much from you, and you guys keep me in check with my thought processes, and you're all so bloomin' lovely and kind that get in the comments section and share. Also, I've just been filming some stories for Amazon, just some sponsored ones, but I wanted to show you this because I know that there's a few girls in my, you can see my tripod. I'm just gonna put that away. Yes, I wanted to show you guys this that I got on Amazon, because I actually couldn't believe that I found it on there. It's an Hermes bag. No, it's not an Hermes bag. I found these things, in fact, I'm not going to take it out. I found these things called bag pads. Now, they don't do ones for mini Kellys yet, which is annoying, but these are for Birkin 25, so this is going to go in my black one. I've got a gold one in here now, and it just pads it out really well, so it's good for like storing away and just keeping the structure of the bag. So I'm going to pop that in my other one. I'll link this in the description box down below, because I think that this is so handy, and I've seen some of these things, they're like super expensive. So to find this on Amazon, I think it was like 30 or 40 quid. If you've got a Birkin 25, they do the 30s as well, I think. I'm sure they do bag pads for the 30s. I did see that, I'm sure. If you've got a 25 or a 30, then this could be super helpful for you. Anyway, I'm cracking on with my day. That has been a very beneficial and that's a very good vibes only start to the day. Also, Ali and I got up and did yoga again today, which we got up, did it at 7:30, and it is just wonderful starting the day. I've got my Neom diffuser now, which is all nice and cleaned, and I put Neom de-stress in there. We've got our lavender yoga mats, and we just stretch everything out. And I realized that my legs were starting to seize up from my PT on Monday already, so it gave me the opportunity to stretch out my legs a little bit, which was very, very good. Porty, come! Ali's just getting home, and it means the dogs go mad. But I have to show you how handsome Ali looks today. Oh my gosh, his outfit when he left this morning, I was like... Good afternoon, everyone. I have had a busy morning at the house. It's actually nice and quiet. There are no workmen here, and there's no girls in the office or anything like that. It's been quiet in the terms of people working here, which is always lovely. But I had some new furniture dropped off, which I actually cannot tell you how special these pieces are. I'll take you and show you them shortly, because they are so wonderful. And I also had a meeting with the Nicholson's Softworks team, basically just going around all of the flower beds, talking about what our plans are for spring and summer, what work we're going to need doing, because one of the things, I don't know if you know, is that we have someone that comes and maintains the garden. I obviously do my veg patch as much, well, in fact, all of it, but we have someone keep everything like the flower beds, because it would be too much work for me to do on my own anyway. And that's the side of it that I'm really interested in learning about, but not necessarily taking on the full brunt of it myself. And so we were going around, I was saying, oh, I'd like to introduce more flowers here. And we're going to attempt to plant my bulbs that I bought from Sarah Raven and just see what happens. They've got shoots, so that's what we're going to do. We're going to try and get them into the beds and just see how they come up, basically. So that's really good. I've had a few lovely deliveries this morning as well, one of which is a new camera. This is the Lumix X100V, and I first saw this camera when we went to Goodwood, and Tommy Brady had this, and this is the lens. So this is kind of what I was hoping for with my, what's the other one called? Lumix? No, what's it called? What's my other camera called? Leica. With my Leica, but it's the lens on it is quite chunky. Now the pictures on a Leica camera are exquisite, but this is better for pictures and filming. I don't know if it'll get the same feel of the pictures as my Leica, but this, for being able to throw in a handbag, obviously with the lens cap on, this is going to be really helpful for me in terms of getting pictures, getting good quality pictures, whilst also being able to take something that's nice around with me. It's actually not as expensive as some cameras can be nowadays. I mean, it's an expensive camera, but it's not as expensive as some of them, like my Leica, for example. So that arrived today. They're actually quite hard to get hold of. They're always sold out, probably because they're lower priced and they are so easy to sort of carry around with you. So I'm going to get a little strap for it, but that will fit perfectly in a 25 handbag, so that's good for me in terms of traveling and things like that, and getting pictures, and also being able to film. I think this will be really handy for filming good quality stories or good quality reels and TikToks and things like that on the go. So very happy with that. I've also got my next Skin and Me. I don't know whether I should maybe try something new with my formula, because I'm really happy with my skin, but maybe there's something else that we could be focusing on as well. So I'm still getting my 10% azelaic acid and my 4% niacinamide. So it says for Lydia, which I just think is incredible, engraved on there. And it's so funny actually, when I meet lots of you out and about, like this is the one thing that a lot of you say to me, you're like, I've just either started my journey with Skin and Me or whatever, and it really is very, very cool to know that you're like getting into it as well, because we're all into it in the office here, but it's lovely to know that you guys are getting into it as well. What else has arrived? I think that's it, to be honest, for what's arrived today. So I'll quickly take you outside and show you. It is quite cold today. It was actually fairly mild in terms of dog walks this morning, but when you're stood outside in a shirt, dress and cardigan, it is actually very, very chilly, and I don't have tights on because I'm inside today. I'm not really going anywhere. It's still very much hibernation season. Hello, my boy. Come up and say hello. Come up and say hello. Say hello to your friends. Yes, it's very much hibernation season still, so I'm not really going anywhere today, which is lovely for me. I just love being able to spend time at home. I want to check on my flower pressings, see how they're getting on. Well, flower pressings, leaf pressings. My PVA glue should be arriving today, so I'll be using that to stick them to cards if any of them are good to go. You smell delicious. And did I have anything else to update you on? I don't think I did. So let's head outside, because these are so special, these pieces. I can't wait to show you. Okay, down we go, Porcine. Down we go. So I just thought I'd show you around the corner here. Obviously, ignore the bins, but this is the new view down the side of our house, which has just made such a difference. This area is all being closed off as well. There'll be a door there, but yes, it looks so much more appealing. But all of these bins will be inside where that door is, and these gates are just such a wonderful finishing touch. They really are. And this view round here is looking lovely as well. Now I've got the bikes out at the moment, but I wanted to show you these two pieces of furniture that arrived, but these are not just any bits of furniture. These are from one of my family's properties, and they contacted me, well, my parents asked me if I wanted them, and I instantly said yes. Now you can't see this one and I can't pull it out, but this is a beautiful tongue and groove cabinet with a latch detail, aged antique brass. I mean, this must be so old. and we'll probably use that somewhere in the house beautifully. But this one is the true special piece, because this is made from a piece of granite. This is actually essentially a butcher's block, but that is an antique sign from the very first Edwin Millen and Son machine tool merchant in Clerkenwell Road, and that is where my family business originated. Well, it was a different business, I think. Not really machine tool merchant, but machine tools in those days were very different, and my grandpa then started it all back up. And so it's on this beautiful oak framework, and it just looks gorgeous. I love it. Either way, we have to find a home for this, whether that's in here as one of Ali's workbenches, or somewhere in the house. I have to make it work. But this will be very, very useful as well. I think that'll be lovely. So those arrived. Gosh, just look at that. It makes me so, so happy. You can always tell that it's the evening just by the look on my eyes. I always get such tired eyes. I really do think I should get some blue light goggles, because I think that they'll help me a little bit when I'm doing my work. My PVA glue has arrived. I literally feel like Neil Buchanan. Let me know in the comments if you remember Neil Buchanan, because if you do, then you're from the same generation as I'm from. But I've got my PVA glue, and hopefully that'll work. I'm just inspecting. It's only been like a week since I pressed them, but apparently they said that dependent on the room that the book is in, you test the paper. If it's cold, then you know it's not ready. You just need to leave it a bit longer, otherwise it could take a few weeks. So I'll grab one of my big books. Yes. I don't know, I think that doesn't necessarily feel cold. Oh wow, I have to show you this, oh my goodness. I don't know if it's ready, but it has pressed so beautifully, but I don't think that that's dry enough. So I think I'm gonna leave that a little bit longer. I also think this is going to be too big for the cards that I've got, so I might have to order the other ones quicker. I'm going to see what other ones I've got in here. I don't remember just doing one book for one thing, but that is so exciting. Oh my goodness. Come on, I must have done more than... Aha, there's another one. Oh, I did do some ferns. I was thinking to myself, I should have done some ferns, but I did. I don't think any of them are ready, or maybe they are. How do you know? It just said that it would be cool if it's not ready. But these... Do you know what? I think these are ready. Oh my gosh, stop it. Am I going to be able to make my first card? Because I'm thinking this year, obviously we're 2 weeks away from Valentine's Day, and usually I get Ali a card with animals on it, because Ali loves animals. And I thought this year I would make a card for him, with obviously leaves from our garden. I think this is ready, you know. Yeah, that's dry. That is fully dry. Oh my gosh, this is so exciting. So I wonder if this one is dry. I'm not sure about that one. I'm gonna leave that in a little bit longer in my big bad book. Did I put more in? Can't have only put 2 in, surely. I think I must have only put 2 in. Maybe I should press some more. I'm going to keep these little bits of paper as well. I'm going to go grab one of my cards. Where did I see that the girls had put my card? Downstairs. I'm definitely learning as I go along. You definitely want a variety of sizes, because I've popped on this one, if I just show you quickly. So I've popped a sort of little one and a medium one, but then there's a big one on there. Now these ones are imperfect. I don't know if they're supposed to look perfect all the time or not. This one's a little bit, I think 2 big ones might be a bit over. Oh no, actually you could kind of overlap them and make them, yeah, that's lovely. I like that. And this is like the little imperfect one. And actually that one looks like it fits on the card perfectly as well. Oh yeah, I like that one too. And on the green card, it's just kind of different, isn't it? But this is why I want to do either some like lovely labels and put like ferns 2022 or 2023, sorry, and just say where they came from so that people know. And I know it's only cards, but I just thought it was something quite nice. I tell you what, I'm gonna get a little pot and do some gluing, and I just might as well get these done now and see how they do, because then I'll learn if it doesn't work, and then I've got these little bits to press some more flowers and more leaves. So I'm gonna go get a brush. Little pot and an old makeup brush. Let's do this. I'm gonna get some more light though. Just a small amount, we don't need long. We don't need loads. This is very tricky with wrist supports on, by the way. Oh my goodness. Whew, they're so brittle that you've got to be careful. I should really be doing this on here and not on the work surface. Gently dab the PVA glue on. Oh my god, this actually is Art Attack now. What's the theme tune? Bawdy, you are too young for Art Attack. You are too young. And you have to be careful and sort of lace it on. Might need a little bit more on this bit. Not stuck, so let's try putting it on the paper. Wow, it's looking good. Just need a fair amount of glue. Maybe that's a bit too much, Lydia. Let's not be ridiculous. And you probably want it to go a bit tacky as well. Oh my gosh, this is so therapeutic. Well, it's getting there. I need to obviously fold it over. It's not doing much on there, but it looks so lovely, especially with the texture of the card. Let that one sit for a little bit. Let's do this one. Wow, this looks amazing. Okay, I would definitely say that the ivy is my favourite. This was the one that I thought was going to be too long for the card, but I just measured it to the exact thing, and then once I'd stuck it on, I cut it off, and I think that looks so nice. Very happy.